So you've played the gaming world's latest and greatest FPS sensation, Superhot. There are plenty of games which allow you to manipulate the flow of time and use slow motion in gunfights, but Superhot inherently stands out for its offbeat nature. It doesn't play like a traditional first-person shooter, as evidenced by the lack of ADS, ammo count, etc. Even if there isn't a game quite like Superhot, there are plenty of other offbeat shooters that will challenge your idea of what a shooter can be. Fun and fresh gameplay is absolutely included. Stalker. The Stalker series gets its fair share of criticism for bugs, and it's certainly justified. However, Shadow of Chernobyl combined a number of varying gameplay elements to properly deliver on its premise of a haunted post-nuclear site. You'll deal with status effects like radiation poisoning, and yes, this predated Fallout 3, bleeding, and hunger, much like a survival sandbox. However, it's still inherently a first-person shooter where most solutions lay at the end of the barrel. The RPG mechanics even take on a roguelite flavor of sorts with certain artifacts that can provide their own sets of negatives and positives. Then you factor in the survival horror, multiple endings, and huge open world, and suddenly, Stalker isn't your atypical FPS. Bulletstorm. Kick, maim, launch, dismember, and explode your enemies in what's arguably the most action-packed shooter ever made. People Can Fly's Bulletstorm had heaps of explosions, tons of bloody battles, kicking, slide kicking, and awesome shooting mechanics. However, with its environmental kills, Bulletstorm did more than just give you cool ways to kill your enemies. It challenged you to creatively dispose of them in the most efficient way possible. Sure, you could shoot each and every foe down, or you could kick them into adjoining cactuses to save ammo, get even more creative and strap an explosive to an enemy before kicking him into a crowd of his friends. Bulletstorm may be tons of fun for the whole family, disclaimer, language and violence are distinctly not for children, but simple mechanics mask an amazing amount of depth into the gameplay. Bioshock. That Irrational's FPS RPG was going to be an experience unlike any other was made apparent in Bioshock's intro. The game further distinguished itself from the pack by the living ecosystem that was Rapture. Big Daddy's protected little sisters in the hallways menacingly looming around should you be interested in the atom they're harvesting. Splicers answer to the mysterious Ryan, but could be manipulated to assist you in battles. Environmental turrets could be hacked and pictures taken of enemies to further provide advantages in attacks. The various plasmids you could gain and the overarching history of Rapture contained in clues was great, but it was the relationship between the different entities and storytelling that really separated Bioshock from the FPS pack. Shadow Warrior. Of all the cult classic heroes we expected to make a comeback, Lo Wang was relatively, well, low on the list. Nevertheless, Flying Wild Hog's reboot of the 1987 FPS Shadow Warrior showed us that you can deliver an old-school first-person shooter and make everything feel new and unique again. The heavy emphasis on melee combat is about more than just style. Various strikes and attack combos can be utilized and are even necessary when it comes to dismembering certain foes. Unique boss fights and an offbeat story that combines samurai machismo with corny action film logic further distinguishes the game. Shadow Warrior treads its own bizarre path rather than reinventing the wheel, but we don't mind one bit. Portal 1 and 2. The orange box was seemingly the gift that kept giving with Team Fortress 2 and Half-Life Episode 2, but the biggest surprise was the quirky, gravity-defying, spatial rearranging mayhem that was Portal. Never before had a first-person game really challenged our notion of how puzzles could be presented. Never before had clever thinking and reflexive action been combined so effectively. The storytelling only further expanded in Portal 2 with its memorable characters and even more mind-bending puzzles. Half-Life may have been wide-reaching in its impact, but the Portal series provided the FPS genre with a completely new direction as opposed to another breath of fresh air. What offbeat shooters did you enjoy playing in the past few years? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.